Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Volume 11. Shit flavored curry or curry flavored shit? The big question that has haunted many lives for a long time has been answered by the Ayano god himself. According to him, shit flavored curry is the logical answer. But you know what? I am gonna play the devil's advocate, and let me just bring up the biggest argument that will make you take a different look at this question itself. Who is shitting? That's right, as you have all heard, shit be hitting different when it be coming from someone special. I don't mean to make you imagine gross stuff. But hey, just for the sake of the argument. Imagine a really beautiful woman. That's right, the woman of your dreams. Don't start masturbating to her. Just imagine her shitting. If you are disgusted, then first of all, you don't love woman, you misogynist pig, and second of all, and the most important thing ever, you will never be able to do your dream job in Japan. That's right, people, if you want to, you can hear it from the top JAV male actor from Nihon Des himself. This man on the screen right here, if he knew about the disgust you were feeling a few seconds ago, he will in turn be disgusted by you, and your weak will. See, taking a page from Ayano Koji's argument about why a person shouldn't go for the curry-flavored shit option, it's cause it will harm your body. And this guy knows it well, he has first-hand experience. If you will watch this video, you can learn fully about what happens when you choose this option. Spoiler alert, it is actually very harmful for indigestion, but this man has done it again and again for years. Not only cause that's part of his work, but it is also his dream to raw dog on that putt from the most beautiful Japanese woman ever. And Ayano Koji obviously can't do that cause he has no love for women in his heart. Which also brings me to the point. I am like 99% sure now that Ayano Koji's gonna break up with Kei just before the new term starts. It's no joke anymore. If you go back down to my other videos, you know how much I love Kei Koji, but clearly in Ayano Koji's mind that book has run its course. This man is clearly cooking something devious for his girlfriend, and forget the readers, even the other characters have no choice but to let him cook. I feel like just like the readers, the other characters can foresee where this relationship is heading. Even Amasawa is like, I am staying away from Kei cause Ayano Koji clearly has a plan for his textbook. But anyways, let's talk about the character other than Ayano Koji who has been cooking something up for the future. And of course, it's my boy Hashimoto. And I think amongst the readers there are two factions regarding Hashimoto. First are the Sakyongi simp that wants a repeat of Yama-God and want Hashimoto to get completely crushed by some devious revenge plan Sakyongi is gonna spring his way. The other faction, the one in which I belong, just want to let Hashimoto cook. Like really man, this is the guy who led to the one of the more interesting plot developments in year 2. So you know, like I want something more exciting than the obvious outcome. Like, is there any reason for the genius Lolicon, who is like the 5th member of the Ayano Koji harem, to just get more dubs her way? Like, come on, she just took her first L, let her fall a bit more. Also her next L can be way more vicious. Cause now, Ryuan and Sakyongi have stepped into a death match, and it seems like the author really is about to get rid of one of the two character cause he also pre-clarified that there will be no draw bullshit, so for now it seems like one of the two characters' expulsion in the next volume is imminent. And I kinda am thinking it would be better if it would be Sakyongi, mostly cause the freaking Ayano Koji harem is getting too big. Like every volume it feels like we get two new girls who are crushing on Ayano Koji, and wanna know more about him, for no freaking reason. Their characters sometimes don't even have much to offer. Like, I think Yamamura is barely excusable because she did have some stuff for the previous volume, and she might just become the new legs of Sakyongi and had an actual problem that needs solving. But I have read some of the Morishida's POV, what the fuck does she know about Ayano Koji? Like, I don't know, is she a character who will be relevant to the plot in future, or is she just another version of the Koenji Karayu, an eccentric type character which is Kinagasa's weird own version of comic relief? This whole volume, by the way, was very lighthearted. Like the author said in his postscript, this was supposed to be a light read after the more serious developments in the previous volume. Which also means it was very anticlimactic for people who were expecting some actual spice from this volume. Especially the Nagumo Ayano Koji fight. See, I personally thought that fight was never gonna happen. Like, it's been dragged on for too long, it was being hyped at the end of the first year, which has been so long ago. And I think the whole of the second year was this thing where the author was just like, yeah, I know I hyped Nagumo up in first year volumes, but now I don't care about him as a villain, and neither should you. Like, Nagumo was literally the final boss as a playable character in the entirety of the second year volumes. Blood had no clue what was actually going on half the time. Blood was supposed to crush Ayano Koji but got his ass saved by him instead. What kind of fucking character development is that? Like, let's just look at the whole competition in this volume, which isn't special at all. It is all workshops. Most things are people learning new shit and then having a friendly competition afterwards where the winning teams and basically everyone else wins some fake-ass private points. This is the one of those exams that could actually happen in the real world, like you are being taught something new with the incentive of some treat afterwards. So, Nagumo and Ayanokoji bets on how much of these bets Ayanokoji can win and Ayanokoji does and receives private points that he is for sure going to use in the future for class exchange. Like that's the most exciting part about it all, that Ayanokoji has finally received the means to change class, betray Horikita and succeed in his evil plan. Even Ayanokoji hitting the bullseye with the arrow was not really thrilling. If you think it is, end it all for yourself. There is no saving you who craves for tiniest bit of thrill from the validation that Ayanokoji receives. By the way, Ayanokoji did show a lot of his physical ability in this volume. First of all, he did sorta say that he could beat Koenji in an unorthodox way, which makes sense. Koenji has been training his body all this time and Ayanokoji has slacked off, so perhaps if it's a fight in the ring with inflexible rules like boxing, Ayanokoji did declare that he wouldn't win, but in a real fight Ayanokoji could just use weapons. And I am pretty sure White Room would teach him to be proficient with a weapon, like even with the same weapons to each person I think Ayanokoji would clearly come out on top just based on skills. Plus, Ayanokoji is really an unreliable narrator, maybe he could take Koenji down in an MMA ring with his unexpected jujitsu skills. Who knows, and I don't think we will. If Ayanokoji and Nagumo fight can be hyped for a year and then not happen, I don't think the author will go out of his way to write a brawl between Koenji and Ayanokoji. Beyond that, Ayanokoji was Jackie Chan training Horikita and Ibuki. And, hey, Horikita finally figured out that Ayanokoji had beaten the shit out of Ryuan. After more than a year she finally figured out why Ryuan suddenly wanted to quit the school shortly after his insistent search for the hidden mastermind behind her class. We finally got her lukewarm reaction to that bit of information. And then she got her ass handed to her. That was fun, Ayanokoji once again showing levels fighting two women with a handicap and not even breaking a sweat, just as you would accept from our stone-cold Ayano god. He did prep them sufficiently enough to enter the correct state of mind to fight Amasawa, but of course you can't beat someone from White Room. So they did lose, but not as bad as they would have lost probably. The author didn't go into much details with the cat fight but sufficient to say that the Amasawa once again proved how strong she is. She was actually gonna give out more proof about how strong she was too. This bitch was ready to throw hands in this volume, would have probably beaten the crap out of Nagumo, which by the way would have been a pathetic enough end to a pathetic villain. Like he wasn't even the villain in actuality and shit, and Horikita Manabu's worries were in some ways unfounded. Like what the hell this guy was so lecherous in all the previous volumes. Like the stuff he was trying to force Ichinos into is somehow all forgotten now that he somehow has a special relationship with Ashina. Like I think if his character stayed consistent from the previous volumes, him getting his ass beat by a girl would have been so fitting. But no, Nagumo had to have character development from his own inferiority complex towards Ayanokoji who he has never even directly competed against. And then he got saved by him also, cause our Ayano god predicts shit like no other. Man had a pre-planned talk no jutsu prepared for Amasawa which he delivered through Nagumo in the most perfect of timings and synonyms. Ain't that great? Now Amasawa isn't throwing her school life away and she is going to be doing nothing pretty much. Like I don't get what the point of her is now, more from the perspective of the people from White Room than as a reader. Like, I don't know, is there still someone in first year who is gonna do something interesting perhaps, I don't know, future will tell. Personally I am also looking forward to the three-way between Ayano Dad, Ayanokoji and Chabashira. That parent-teacher meeting will either be boring as hell or hella interesting. Most likely the latter because Ayano Dad does have some hidden motive in coming to PTM. Of course actually discussing career path with the guidance of Chabashira is laughable. But I do think that meeting might have a more political turn. Like I am not saying, Ayano Dad will say I want my son to be the future Prime Minister of Japan but with the few mentions of the Prime Minister and Ayano Dad's sworn enemy here and there, this time out of the mouth Kiryuan no less, does make sense that an increasing approach to career and politics might become a major focus in the future volumes. Or Ayanokoji could somehow dupe everyone and go to the prestigious university that Nagumo and Horikita Manabu are at. Only time will tell, and it will only tell that if the author's hernia gets better, so all prayers to him. There is talk of the next volume getting possibly postponed, which will be a shame, but it's understandable, and for the sake of future long running of this series we should spread some love for this series. Moreover, I would like to talk about the most recent development in the anime actually. The freaking proposal has now finally gotten animated. What a finale. The scene of the pawn being promoted to a queen. The all deep thought memes of being book zoned that will now flow afloat with the tool zone. With all that said, does it make sense to say that the anime's hype has died down? I don't know, the last large meme that we had that spread its way out of this community was, spread your legs, and while it didn't really give a good look to the anime, it did garner some eyeballs. But what about now? When the next release of the volume is not sure and the animation has taken a bit of a hit, I think memes are the way to get a lot of non-involved people in the community to generate some hype. Cause the memes are good, they are stuff of legends, but is that enough to populate the hype of the series? I hope the next volume has something devious cooked up and the wait will be worth it cause I don't want this series to go through any sort of decline. So until next time, to deuce.